First question I wanted to ask you is, what are you doing in France?
Every artist has destiny, let's say, and I feel my destiny was somehow to be here. Actually speaking, when I came here, I didn't think I would become a dancer. So when I came here, I came here on a scholarship for studies in French. And when I arrived here, I saw that French are very curious about art. They're open to lots of different forms of art. What I felt is every time I saw Indian artists, especially Indian dancers performing here, I felt they were missing the voice. They were not able to communicate to the public because the language became a barrier. I was very happy to see these people, but I always felt that if only they could speak and they could explain what they were doing, and the people also, they wanted to know, they were so curious, they were there, and somehow I felt that that was my destiny probably. I realized that I can speak French well. I have a command on the language since I've done long years of higher studies in the French literature, and I have this passion for dance which I continued, and even more so after I met my husband Nabankur, who is himself percussionist. So that's how I came here and I decided to practice dance here.
Hello everyone, I'm Reena Augustine from Community Impact, and I have the pleasure of having this gorgeous, beautiful women from India. I must say, Bengali women are really the most beautiful in the whole country. I have dancers, choreographers, you name it, and she can do it. I had the pleasure to witness her dance live just 3 days back. Maitreyee Mahatma is right here with me. Hi Maitreyee.
Hello Reena.
Maitreyee, you're looking so beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow.
I return the compliment to you.
Thank you. Every woman in sari, no matter what,
Yes.
they look so gorgeous and
Exactly.
beautiful. You know, the first question I wanted to ask you is,
Yes.
what are you doing in France? You are here for the last, I don't know how many years you mentioned. What are you doing here? Let's start there.
Well, I think every artist has a destiny, let's say, and I feel my destiny was somehow to be here. Because actually speaking, when I came here, I didn't think I would become a dancer, because as you know, in India, just to say I'm an artist or I'm going to be an artist is not so, it's not so easy to accept, either in the family, in the socially, and also for yourself. You know, you think
They'll say,
about
"Khana kya?"
how am I
Yeah.
going to survive and will I be able to do everything. So when I came here, I came here on a scholarship for studies in French. I was doing my doctorate from Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi, and I asked for a scholarship to finish my doctorate because we didn't have enough documentation back, at least then, in the 2000, that was the year
Okay.
2000. So I was lucky to get this scholarship and arrive here. And when I arrived here, I saw that there are a lot of, the French are very curious about art. They're open to lots of different forms of art, and they themselves have, of course, a very rich culture of and history of art. And but what I felt is every time I saw Indian artists, especially Indian dancers performing here, I felt they were missing the voice. They were not able to communicate to the public because the language became a barrier. So despite the fact that they were wonderful dancers, and I actually enjoyed myself thoroughly in Paris, watching a lot of concerts at Hôtel de Ville or even at the Mandapa Hall, different places in Paris. Paris is just, culture is everywhere. So I was very happy to see these people, but I always felt that if only they could speak and they could explain what they were doing, and the people also, they wanted to know, they were so curious, they were there, and somehow I felt that that was my destiny probably, because I realized that I can speak French well. I have a command on the language since I've done long years of higher studies in the French literature. And I have this passion for dance which I continued, and even more so after I met my husband Nabankur, who is himself a percussionist. He plays the tablas. So that's how
You came here.
I came here and I decided to practice dance here, to be able to be the voice also of these dancers who were here and not able to convey. So today whenever I perform, I try and, you know, bring forward that meaning and that sense behind, not just, I don't want my spectator to be just there giving taliyan, you know,
Applauding, yeah,
applauding,
ji, bilkul.
and just saying, oh, how exotic. I don't want that. I want an intelligent audience who understands what's happening on stage, and that they give the applause because they understand what we're doing.
That's true. The other day when I saw the performance and I saw the anchor explaining what you were doing, it is so important that you perform. But you must remember, you are in a place where people do not understand. You need to learn the language, you need to explain them what is your next performance, and when you're performing, why you're performing.
Right.
What is the expression? I remember you telling me, when you do this, they should understand, why am I doing this? What is this ada?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So, let's go back when you said French literature. Why did you choose French literature?
Well, the journey goes, I will rewind in my life. And I come from a family, Bengali family. My grandfather was, let's say, at the first seed in this journey, probably. His name was Mr. Maitreyee Mahatma. And he was always like pushed by a spiritual urge, you know, let's say. So all his children, that is my father and my aunts, they all studied in the Tagore's, you know, Shantiniketan.
Okay.
And after that, he came to hear of Sri Aurobindo, who had an ashram in Pondicherry by then. And the second half of their studies, they all completed their studies. So my father included. They were all studying in the Pondicherry ashram, and as they studied there, they wanted me and my sister to pursue our studies there, because I think there's an accent not only on education but on a very complete and integral. There's a very integral sense of education in Pondicherry, through sports, through music, through arts. I mean, education is not only maths and physics.
Wow.
You know, it is also literature, but it is also dance, and it is also sports, and it is also arranging a flower beautifully. We were lucky, I think, very lucky to be in a school which gave so much importance to these small things in life, you know. And so that's how my journey started with French, because Pondicherry this Pondicherry ashram being founded by Sri Aurobindo and the mother, who was French herself.
Okay.
So in our schooling, we had two languages. It was like French and English medium. So let's say we had like mathematics and physics and biology in French. We were learning it through the French language. Or history, geography, we were learning it in English. And we had also Sanskrit as a compulsory subject. And each one had their respective mother tongues. So that was my first connection with French. And there are a lot of, the mother has written a lot of books which are in French. So through all these mediums, I was very much attached to French. So that passion remained, and I continued later on. I thought I would be teaching French. So I went to Delhi for MA and MPhil, and I enrolled for PhD, and I cleared the UGC. And I thought, so after the scholarship, I'll finish my PhD in France, and then I'll go back and become a teacher, a professor.
Oh gosh, you never left. You never went back.
And then when I was here, at the end of it in 2008, by then I had also met my husband, Nabankur Bhattacharya. When I finished my PhD, that was the question, you know, the blaring question which was standing before me, you know. So what? Now what? It was very easy to escape and say, okay, I love dance and that's my passion. So I'm always continuing dance. So I always had dance. I studied both together. Like when I was in JNU in Delhi, I used to do the classes at Sri Ram Bharatiya Kala Kendra for the dance.
Okay.
So it was a parallel, these two subjects were running parallel in my life, you know. So until the day I submitted my PhD, I had to ask myself, so now what do you want to do? And When I gave it a thought, a deep thought actually, because it's easy first, the very first idea that comes, okay, I might earn better and he'll give me a comfortable situation in life to be able to teach, but I tried to be very sincere with myself, trying to put out all the social ideas that one could be given, and I felt that within me, what was most strong was my inclination for dance.
Okay.
And like offhand, if I'm sitting and pondering before the sea, very probably my thoughts will be going towards dance and less towards, let's say, literature.
Yeah.
So I said that would be the sincere choice of my life, would be dance.
And your family supported you?
And I was very lucky to have parents, both my mother and my father, to be always, in support. And as a matter of fact, you saw in the performance that you witnessed on the 13th of December. My father came all the way from Calcutta.
Such a proud dad.
So supportive about what we do. So
he was
very
taking
lucky.
photos, he was taking the videos.
Because I think it was very easy for him to, go for a classic dad because he's a doctor, he's a general physician. And it would have been so easy for him to say, I want you to be a doctor.
Exactly.
Which he requested. But it was a very soft and sweet. Once or twice he just told me. But then when he saw that I was inclined to dance, I really all due respect to him for respecting my choice.
That's so important because...
And my mother also. She was always into... She has done her MA in music, in singing, vocal. So I think she has given me also, in her way, the love for music and dance.
So she sings?
So she sings,
oh,
yes.
Wow.
So yes, when it's rare, but when I do sing sometimes, I do feel very grateful to her, and I think I sing it as, as a gratitude, as an expression of gratitude to her.
I love it. So Indian parents who actually supported you to go follow your dreams and follow your dance and did not interrupt and say that, okay, no, you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, or you have to be a teacher, that's how it works.
Yes.
So that's kind of a blessing,
Yes.
Maitreyee.
Yes.
It is.
A very big blessings from
Yeah.
above, and also a very big exception with a capital E, I would say.
So if you believe in the universe and manifestations and something's there, you come to France and you find a partner who actually follows his dream and he's into the same art industry. Isn't that like something that's
True.
It's so
amazing. That's when you say that, yeah, maybe things were meant to be, and we are really lucky to have found each other also, because I think such dreams cannot be pursued alone, because sometimes the walk and the path can be tough.
Yeah.
So when you are two together to construct and to believe in that dream and to go ahead despite all odds, I think that's a big help.
I love
and
that.
I thank the universe for that.
Isn't it? Oh,
Yes.
I love it. So, Kathak. I saw you
Yes.
live performing Kathak, and the way you were performing. Let's take the example of the Friday night. You wrote the whole story of what the anchor was mentioning to the audience. So tell me, walk through it.
In general, for the audience who's probably not aware of the presentation we did, it was our latest creation, let's say. It's a new show, which chose actually because this show happened in the midst of a festival called the Mehfil Festival, which our organization, Taal Tarang Indian Arts Academy, organizes every this autumn, let's say, November, December in France, and this was the 9th edition. So the main theme of this year's festival was art faced with the difficulties of travel, of journey. So when an artist moves, what are the difficulties I would face? So this particular show which we did, we called it Mehfil also. And we called it Mehfil because it was looking into, it was like we put the looking glass into one particular period of the history of Kathak, which is the period of the Mughals, when the Mughals came. We all know that Kathak has been existing from a long time before the arrival of the Mughals, of course, that it was born in the temples, that the Kathakars were recounting their first, let's say, vocation in a way was to recount the stories of the Hindu gods and the goddesses and the kings. And so it was something very narrative and very spiritually oriented. But when the Mughals came to India, then they started patronizing these art forms. So Kathak took a different, changed its way. And that is exactly the subject of the festival, that how art readapts itself because it wants to survive.
Yeah.
So what should I do if I start recounting Shiva and Krishna in front of the Mughal kings?
Yeah.
They might not want me as the dancer in the court. So what did these dancers do? So that's how actually this work started. So initially I actually enjoyed, because I have this in me, researcher by default. I like it. I enjoy reading, and I didn't know where it was going, but I enjoyed. I just picked up the names like Akbar or Tansen or Amir Khusro, all these figures, Ghalib, the Sufism, the Bhakti period moving on, getting influenced and mixing up with the Sufi period. So I just read on all these, and then slowly I started arranging. And during this little research, if we can say it, I found a lot of stories, and some stories I knew from a long time and some which I actually discovered while reading. So I wanted the presentator Benoit to present that, so that the audience actually lives this era, not just, I didn't want them to see just dance number 1 and then second
Two
piece
and
third
three,
piece.
yeah.
I didn't want this. I wanted them to just go back to that period and feel that, yeah, Bhakti movement is going away with the first bhajan of Meera starting and fading away. And then suddenly there's a new wave coming in. There's a new sense of dressing up. New lines of beauty are being drawn, with the Persians coming in.
Yes.
So I wanted it to be like a journey also
It was
for the
beautiful.
public. So
It
that
was
what
really
it was.
beautiful. So keeping the culture alive in a different country is really not an easy thing, right? Reigning from India, coming to a foreign land, making your foundation over here, and then keeping the culture alive. What were the hardships that you faced?
Well, actually, maybe I would take the question the other way around.
Yeah.
And I would say that I think we were so lucky to have wonderful mentors, wonderful gurus like Pandit Birji Maharaj Ji, Srimati Shashwati Sen, Pandit Ashim Bandhu Bhattacharya. These people, they actually gave us so much love for dance, and they helped us see so much of beauty in this world of dance, that I think that acted like a cloak, of protection.
Yeah.
And we just went on pursuing this path for the joy it gave us, and that what we wanted to give out, to share what all our gurus gave us.
Yeah.
And that helped me to just go on, and definitely odds come. It's not like back home. You have a house and you have a big hall which is empty and where of course you can give a dance class, but here this is like a dream.
Yeah.
Even in your own house to practice dance, you have of course neighbors who will be saying, how is it you're making so much noise? Whereas probably back home we don't have this
Back
thought,
home they will be waiting to listen to your
probably,
jangers,
or even we don't even think, we feel that he's doing this in his house, and
yes, true.
who am I
actually.
to actually interfere unless he's doing it after at 10 p.m. or
Sleep
something.
time, yeah.
But during the day we feel it's just none of my business to even say something. Unko tokna,
Bilkul.
So,
Okay.
Well, so these were definitely some odds, even to get to the audience to understand us. So there were definitely difficulties. How also some questions, it's difficulties, but also which helped me to perceive my art differently, to rethink my art also. How would I teach someone here to unveil this sweet face of Radha who's looking at Krishna? She has to understand that cultural feeling, who was Radha, who was Krishna, what is her feeling, how does she attract how does the Indian woman attract a man or feel shy before her beloved? Not, not like here, the gestures are so different.
Different. Oh my
You know,
gosh,
I
you're
wouldn't
so
go
right.
for something like that.
Yes,
Like this.
that's right.
I would go more, the what is it?
Oh my
So,
God, the
it's nice to-
adaye.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I love it. Oh
But
God.
yes, on the other hand, we have people also who said, why don't you give classes on just how to sit and be feminine and
Yeah, it's
stuff
true.
like that also.
I need
So
to learn
I
that.
think there's a lot to do.
Do you have a class on that?
Well, I think the Indian tradition has loads of that. Or in Indian tradition of dance. So yes, of course, if you're in
Wow.
any Indian dance class, you would
Yeah.
get that.
Tell me about your classes. In a week, what's your how many classes do you take, and where, if somebody wants to come to your class, how can they apply?
So, Taal Tarang Indian Arts Academy proposes, we are an association based in Marseille since 2012. So, yeah, that's like almost 12 years now. And we give classes in the premier arrondissement, for those who know Marseille. So, in the few centers, municipal centers of the mairie, which is held by the mairie. So, I do it in 12 Boulevard du Gommier on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, Tuesday we have 2 classes. The first one is 5:30 to 6:30 for the children, from 6:30 to 8:30 for the advanced students who've been learning with me now for almost like 10 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very happy and I'm very proud of these students, and I'm very proud of myself also.
You have
that,
to be.
You know, they have gone so long, and that we have been able to give
Continued.
them that love for dance, and I think that in itself.
So
would
if
be
I
an
have to
achievement for
join,
me.
I have to join the children?
No.
Oh, okay.
And we have also
Beginner, because I'm a beginner.
Wednesdays we have a intermediary class.
Okay.
And Thursdays we have a beginners class.
Beginners,
Beginners, adults.
Oh, and what time is
So
that?
That is 6:30 to 6 o'clock to 7:30.
I like that. Okay. You
So
will be seeing
anyone who
me.
wants to start.
I'm the one who's going to
you
be
are
there.
welcome.
So, Maitreyee, if you want to tell 3 things to our audience to keep going, what advice would you give?
Well, I think the first thing I would like to say is stick to your roots, especially when you are abroad. I think there's a lot of temptation, and one enjoys also just breathing in that fresh air of Frenchness, let's say.
Yeah.
So which is also beautiful, which I myself love a lot also. But I think what makes you as an Indian is your culture.
Yeah.
So definitely take inspiration from everything else, but don't lose that root of yours, which is running through this whole tree.
Yeah.
Taking from the root, and it's the sap which runs in you. So I think one should keep that.
Yeah.
That is one suggestion I would give. 3 you said?
Yes. Let's say
Okay.
second one.
So the second one is keep going. Just keep going. It reminds me of, I think there was a great Indian mathematician, I hope I'm not making a mistake, Ramanujan, who had on his table, when he passed away, it was written, he quoted from an English poet, and the lines were, I have miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep. And I think that is it. You should have your aim and you should keep walking. Initially, even if people don't believe in you, but seeing you believe in your own dream, I think after a couple of years, they will believe.
believing. Yeah.
They'll say, हाँ, इनमें तो कुछ बात है.
क्योंकि उन्होंने गिव अप नहीं किया, करते रहे, आगे बढ़ते रहे,
Yes.
है ना?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Right.
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn Kathak, I think Taal Tarang is the place to learn. And keep going, never give up, and never forget your roots. That's what we have learned from Maitreyee. Thank you so much, Maitreyee.
Thank you.
Thank you.